Hi there, folks. I'm Keegan Van Hook, and this is Us As We Are. A few days after Medford's Pride celebration, we caught wind of an emerging controversy with LGBTQ affairs at its core. Rogue Retreat, a local charity organization which works with the city of Medford addressing the homeless crisis, was on the June 16th City Council agenda, item 70.3, for the approval of a new permanent urban campground. Rogue Retreat has been the subject of controversy for some time. Homeless people we've spoken with in the past have called it, among other things, an incomplete solution to homelessness. But recently, Rogue Retreat and its founder, Pastor Chad McComas, have been under scrutiny for their alleged improper handling of LGBTQ individuals. Activists concerned about this issue, as well as those who maintain their support of Rogue Retreat, gathered at City Hall to express their feelings and offer testimony to Medford City Council.
I'm Robin. I volunteer helping out the unhoused community here in Medford. Been doing for a while. Have a lot of friends in the unhoused community and heard a lot of stories about Rogue Retreat that are kind of terrifying and awful, and especially about Pastor Chad. Pastor Chad is the pastor for Set Free Ministries and is in charge of Rogue Retreat, which is the only organization in this area that has unhoused shelters for people, which are difficult to access, especially for people of color and the LGBT community.
So my name is Torrin McKnight. I use any pronouns. I'm here with the Rogue Valley Pepper Shakers. We counter religious extremists in the valley and advocate for queer and reproductive rights. So we are here to oppose Pastor Chad McComas, who's the executive director of Rogue Retreat, and show that bigotry is not welcome in our community, and especially in services that people get is not okay for people in charge of that to be bigoted. So in 2018, there was a pamphlet released from his church, Set Free Ministries, that details how homosexual men need to be saved from homosexuality. He thinks it's a disease or something.
All right, well, my name's Michael Akers. They call me Pockets around here because I have a OCD and I collect things. But more than anything, they call me a lover because I love everybody. And I love you guys, and I love these guys, and I love, unfortunately, all these guys too here in that big old building.
So what brings you here to this big old building today?
I overheard, someone talking about this pastor that runs the Rogue Retreat having inversion for homosexuality, and that's just crazy, that he thinks that that's okay. He thinks it's right at all to even try to change a person, that people are born the way they are, and, we're born in the vision of God, he made us in his image, so what's wrong with these people, or wrong with me? Nothing. And why he thinks he needs to change that is kind of beyond me.
Pastor Chad McComas is a bigot that should not be in charge of resources going out to anyone, and whoever's in charge of that should be people that love everyone and accept everyone and don't want to tell people that who they are is wrong or a sin or whatever. Last week at the Housing Summit, Pastor Chad McComas, during an interview, said that he believes homosexuality is a sin, and he compared homosexuality to stealing and cheating.
Being a Christian who believes in the Bible, I have to believe what the Bible teaches me. And it points out all kinds of sins in there, whether it be theft or same-sex attraction. They're all in there. It's not about the behavior, it's about how do I treat people that might have behaviors that I might not agree with. Can I treat them with respect and dignity and love? The Bible's really clear also on loving everybody and not judging people. So let's keep that in perspective. It might say that adultery's wrong, but if I know a best friend of mine that cheated on his wife, can I treat that person with dignity even if I don't agree with his behavior? And so when we pick out one piece and say, do you believe this, do you believe that, you got to look at the whole picture.
Are you equating cheating to same-sex attraction?
I'm not equating it, but the Bible's really clear on these are sins, and that's all I can say. But I'm not judging. But I'm not judging the people that might do any of that. So I'm not equating it. I'm just reading what the Bible says.
But you do believe that same-sex attraction, you just said, is a sin?
Clearly, the Bible points that out.
And you believe that?
I do believe that, but that doesn't going to change how I treat people.
We're here today, not so much in support of Chad, although we do. We're heartbroken to hear about the things going on with him, and I don't know the whole story, but just that people are against, quote, conversion therapy. So what we would say as a group is conversion therapy. Jesus converts people to Christ. So it's not so much about being from gay to straight as it is from lost to saved. In other words, heading to hell and then headed to heaven. So that's what we want for people. And what follows is when people come to Christ, they reject their gayness, their trans, whatever. That's what happens. God makes them a new creation in Christ. So we're not their enemies, we're their friends. We want them to be saved from hell. And maybe people are here that are supportive of Chad. Great. If they hear the message and get saved too, that's wonderful. But we're here a little bit to support the people that are for Chad.
These guys in the back have no bitches, absolutely zero.
We have this sign. We mostly like to take the sign out. We follow people around. Most of the time, people like this is just filled with ignorance. And so, easiest way to battle ignorance is ignorance itself. And so we like to go and be annoying to people and hopefully make them leave, because that's honestly the easiest way to battle it, I've found.
We meet with a lot of flack when we go there, of course, because people think we hate them, but we don't. We love them. To hate them would be to stay home and watch football and eat popcorn and mow the lawn or whatever. But we go out, we forsake some of the things we need to do at home, like that, work on the car or whatever it is, to go and to rescue them, to bring Jesus Christ to the pride folks. So we love them. We don't want them to perish in hell. So that's the idea.
Have you always believed this, or what led you to this belief?
No. Actually, I've been a Christian since 1994. And when I got saved, I realized how bad my sins were and how good Jesus Christ is, the Savior that saved me from hell, because I was headed there 28 and a half years ago. And so immediately I had this thought that, I need to preach Jesus to whoever. And so that's been many whoever's over the 28 and a half years, including LGBT, pro-abortion people, whoever, BLM, people that need Jesus. And so that passion comes from Jesus Christ. He actually gives us that. He says, go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. So that's his command, and that's our heart cry as believers, is to bring this message of hope and life to people that are lost in darkness and headed for hell, so they can make it to heaven. That's our hope.
The people here who are protesting are not here to have a conversation, so don't even bother. Just make fun of them.
So far, I think all they want to do is kind of battle us and not the homelessness. So far, every Christian or anything they've done is for their speech and their message more than what the actual cause is for and why we're out here in the first place.
Conversion therapy is a practice that's been disavowed by every medical and mental health institution in the entire country. It doesn't work. It increases depression, anxiety, increases rates of unhousedness in the LGBT community, and people who have gone through these processes are twice as likely to commit suicide. It's awful, and all of the services that Rogue Retreat provides, a lot of things like busing and showers, all of that gets sent to Set Free Ministries where this program is happening, which again makes it difficult for people of color and LGBT people to access these services because they're constantly under threat of persecution.
Have you personally used Rogue Retreat services in the past?
I have. I haven't stayed in. I was going to stay in their little concentration campground they made. And, I didn't even make it in the door because they was belittling me before I even got my stuff packed in. I got to where they inventory of my property, and they was just dogging me because I had so many things. I mean, I have OCD, I'm a bad collector. That's one of the things I need to work with in my life. So one of my problems that I'm coming for help for, and you're belittling me, and one of them, his exact words was, "Look at this piece of shit." I couldn't believe myself. I was like, dude, if you want to talk like that, that's when my side, aggressive side kicked in. You could say some shit like that, come say it to me. Don't say it in there, come out here and say it to me. And yeah, I made it about 10, 15 minutes in there before I just left and said, I can't do this.
My name is Liz. I was a resident at Rogue Retreat for 3 years. I have now moved out onto my own, and I was a member of Set Free Christian Fellowship, and I was a leader at Celebrate Recovery.
And so you're a supporter of the work that Rogue Retreat does?
Yes, I am.
Do you know Pastor Chad personally?
Yes, I do.
Tell me about him, I guess.
Exactly what my sign says. Pastor Chad says, come as you are. He does not discriminate. He does not judge. If you're gay, white, black, he doesn't care. Come as you are. You need help, come get help. You need house, go to Rogue Retreat, get some housing. You know, I know many gay people that work for Pastor Chad. I know many gay and trans people that are part of Rogue Retreat. So for him to be slandered like this is very angering.
You're very angry?
I'm very angry.
A lot of issues with Rogue Retreat in general, not just Pastor Chad. It's difficult to understand how to access the services. They're not very clear about the process to getting in, to going from there to housing. People have to talk to the police to even get involved with Rogue Retreat, which is especially difficult, again, for people of color and the LGBT community.
They also said that people have to be arrested to get into our campground. That's not true. We do work with the livability to police here in town, and their job is to help the homeless get off the streets. So they find people, they vet them, they bring them to the campground. They don't arrest them. So I just think there's a group of people that are really hurting right now, and they're feeling like nobody's listening to them, and then they're saying, well, see, he's against us. I'm not against them. I'm not against, if they want to share this information, the truth will come out. It always does.
Chad did not create Celebrate Recovery. Celebrate Recovery comes from Saddleback Church in Southern California. They make up all the literature. We are not in control of the literature that comes from Celebrate Recovery. I was in Celebrate Recovery for 6 years down here. I have never seen any conversion therapy ever. We do not judge. You could come high, you could come gay, whatever. You know, if you want help, come get help. If you want to be loved, come get loved on. You know, we're not going to turn you away. And I don't even know what conversion therapy is. That shows how much we practice it.
What's the thing that actually makes you feel that you need to come out to demonstrate on behalf of these beliefs?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Yeah. First, it's compassion, because when I was saved, it's like somebody being dragged from a burning building by a firefighter, and his clothes are still smoking. He's alive, and he's coughing, and he looks up into the house and sees a man laying on the couch, and the fire's just roaring, and this man's still alive. And you say to the firefighter, "Look, there's another man in that building. Get him, go get him." So that's what we're doing. We're directing the gospel to people who have not been saved yet, and we're still in our burnt clothes, smoking. We're coughing. We're going, please save that man, because it's danger. So compassion, and we're commanded to go into all the world, preach the gospel. That was the last commandment Jesus gave to us, and that's the main reason the church is here on earth, to proclaim the gospel.
I have nothing against homosexual people. I am bi. So I have nothing against homosexual people at all. Some of my best friends are gay. This lady right here, this is my sister in Christ, and she is gay. I have Rogue Retreat members that are gay. I do not care. Your sexual preference is your sexual preference. That has nothing to do with my life.
Pastor Chad taught me how to budget, and I have a brand new car.
So, we just talked to this man here from the RV Salt Shakers. Do you feel any agreement with what he says about, homosexuality being a sin or anything like that? Or are you just a full let it ride kind of person?
I believe love is love, and you cannot help who you love. I am not against homosexuality at all. I believe everyone has their own sins, whether it's drugs. I'm a drug addict. Been clean for 14 years. I'm a sinner. So I have nothing against it.
So where do you think this controversy came from then? Because, this group over here certainly seems to think that there's something going on with, like I said, sort of conversion therapy in Rogue Retreat, and they don't feel Rogue Retreat is a good organization. Where do you think that this conflict stems from? Because, you're a person who testifies that Rogue Retreat has done good work for you, but then there are others who testify that it's been a really bad experience. What do you think is the disconnect or the division here?
Ignorance. They have no idea who Pastor Chad is. They have no idea what Rogue Retreat has done for this community. They have no idea how many lives Rogue Retreat has saved. They don't know anything about Rogue Retreat except for Pastor Chad is executive director, and he's a pastor. It separates church from state. Pastor Chad does not take his religious beliefs to work.
Rogue Retreat accepts all people. And we are a low barrier shelter, and we're that way intentionally because we want to get people help that aren't going to find anywhere else. We really don't disqualify anybody. Probably the only person we might disqualify would be a predator that wouldn't be safe to have where we might have children or we might have people that would be vulnerable. That's it. If you got mental health issues, we want you to come. You know, whatever the issues you are. Because most of society doesn't see the homeless as valuable people. We do.
I think we talked to you about 1 year ago on the Greenway when the police were doing a sweep. What did your situation turn into, and how are you doing now?
Well, I mean, they took away our camps and they demolished a lot of stuff. I lost a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm still, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention it, I'm still, got court to try to get my property back, or at least paid for what they threw away and demolished. But as of now, I mean, I'm just kind of rolling around, sleeping where I can, I've already gotten 12, 13 trespassing in public tickets. Just because I can't, there's nowhere for me to be, that isn't bothering someone because they have to look at me.
What would you need in order to get out of this situation?
To me, it's 50-50. I'm out here because of circumstance. I didn't aim to be out here and be homeless in Medford. I came out here, I had a place to live when I arrived. Things changed. But, and then once I got out here, I realized the things that I like to do in my life are things that I'm able to do out here on the streets. So, it's might as well save rent money and just be out on the streets. If the weather's good, it doesn't bother me at all. But I do want to get off the streets. I mean, I've been working towards, last time we talked, I was talking about getting clean off of the drugs, and I've been going to talking to the doctors and making the appointments, trying to get myself on the right foot with that. It's hard, especially once you've broken the barrier using needles. It's really hard to get off. And I getting off the streets is one of the first things, because once people see that, maybe I'm off the streets and I got my own place, maybe I'll get a little bit more respect, a little bit more decency from them. It's kind of what I'm hoping for. Being able to walk down the street without somebody yelling vulgar stuff at me, it'd be freaking great.
We are who we are. We're not going to change. We're not judgmental towards anybody. In fact, our church is probably more opening and welcoming than most. We have sexual orientation in our church. We have people that are still active in their addictions. We have all kinds of people with some real problems, but they're welcome to come in the door.
But will you continue to support a program that claims...
Well, we don't even have that program anymore. So I guess the answer is no, because we don't have it.
Do you know when it was discontinued?
It's been 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
I'm Holly.
Hi, Holly, and you're the DJ for this Rave Against Rogue Retreat, huh?
I am.
So why don't you tell me just what's going on here today?
So what's going on is, I think it's really beautiful for groups of people to express their civic opinions in all kinds of different ways. Going in and giving public testimony is one way, and another way is to dance and shake your booty with your friends and just bring a really celebratory spirit that's positive, that is like local queer people, local houseless people, people who are both, just dancing together on the sidewalk to say the services aren't working, we need something better, there needs to be houseless voices in how services are conducted, can't be racist, can't be homophobic, and that Rogue Retreat really needs to look hard at itself and do a deep overhaul and provide services that are the ones that people really, really need. And we also need a diversity of services. It can't just be Rogue Retreat anymore. We need all kinds of options to meet all kinds of different needs, disabilities. Just creating a really positive vibe, and it's been really great engaging with people driving by who are into the music. We just try to keep it fun.
I mean, that's what we're here about today. Rogue Retreat's up for funding, so trying to make noise and let people know that these services are not as helpful as some people believe, and it's led by some pretty despicable people. So
we have a city council meeting today, and we are going in to tell city council that they basically need to encourage Rogue Retreat by whatever means necessary to fire Pastor Chad McComics as the executive director. And so basically pull funding from Rogue Retreat until they do that.
Okay, so we're going up to the city council chamber right now. I think some of the people who are both for and against Pastor Chad are going to testify at this meeting. We're probably going to need to be quiet.
I see that we have a lot of people in the audience that would probably like to speak tonight, so we'd like to try to get through everybody during that 30-minute period. The time is now 6:15.
Hello, thank you, Mayor and City Councils, for your time. First, I would like to say that once we were homeless, I like to stay unhoused, and we are graduates of the Rogue Retreat program. So I'm probably going to cry. Tasha was bisexual and disabled. And she was treated badly. She was treated very badly. I thought it was just because it was her disabilities. And I experienced that because of my disabilities. And I thought that was just something that we had to go through. Now, Tasha was raped, though. They went into her home and raped her. And Rogue Retreat chose not to go to the police. And they told everybody, though, if they did, that we would all be kicked out and that they would handle the investigation on their own. Chad is a good person, but he's obviously not the right fit if he's going to bring his own personal agendas into what he's doing.
Okay, thank you. Your time is up. Thank you.
The effects of these people's ignorance weighs heavy on all communities, especially on our unhoused and queer neighbors who are often forced into making the choice between conforming to religious ideologies or being left without basic human needs. And even when not forced to take these ideologies, they are forced to accept resources from people that condemn their very identity.
He is open about his condemnation of queer people and believes homosexuality can be cured with a recovery program, as evident from his willing release of a homophobic pamphlet offering homosexual men a, quote, solution to their, quote, problem. We are demanding that the city of Medford pauses all funding to Rogue Retreat until they have fired Pastor Chad McComas from his position as executive director. Our community will not sit idly by while this man and people like him actively hurt our community, and we hope you don't either.
In the last 3 years, our neighborhood has already opposed 2 different temporary homeless camps, one on Quint Street and the other on 8th Street. And we have seen a historical bias towards our neighborhood. To put it plainly, a bias towards West Medford and our neighborhoods, that we already have a concentration of homeless services, and we already have I don't know whether you'd call it a permanent homeless camp, but in Hope Village. There are other things in our neighborhood which need addressing. Just 1 block from this proposed purchase, there's a street without sidewalks. We live in a neighborhood where there's no paved sidewalks.
A year or so ago, I decided to branch out from my volunteer work, try and work with Rogue Retreats to help care for the houseless in my community. I went through 4 interviews with them. I was told by the then head of their hiring that I was overqualified for the position. I was applying for a guest host at the Kelly Shelter. As I have years of management and years of volunteering experience with our local houseless neighbors, they suggested that they consider me for possible management positions. At my final interview, I was interviewed by Pastor Chad and a few of the senior staff. At this interview, I was questioned about my faith, and I spoke freely on my views of being free of religious affiliation. At the end of the interview, I was given religious pamphleture by Chad, Pastor Chad. Though I was denied all positions, I tried to let it go, return to my volunteer work. But recently, Pastor Chad said that he had never brought religion into Rogue Retreat or its business dealings. This was a lie. He brought it into my interview multiple times.
I'm a proud mother of a gay son. He was valedictorian of his senior class and a college graduate. As such, I find that the ideologies that have been projected out by the set-free ministry associated with the Rogue Retreat to people when they are in their most vulnerable is truly chilling to me.
Masses of homeless people are coming to Medford and Jackson County because they've researched and found us the most generous. They also come here after leaving failed attempts of similar projects in other cities and states, demonstrating that this approach is not effective and will not solve the problem. New strategies are needed.
I live in West Medford near the proposed homeless camp. I am not in favor of this proposal. It repeats the mistakes that Portland, the Bay Area, and Eugene have already tried. That is to put increasingly more resources at the problem and expecting differing results.
Funding should not go to projects who fail to provide adequate services, fail to respect and represent the communities that they serve, and are led by bigots like Pastor Chad McComas. Medford should not be spending money on this service. We demand a variety of services that are easily accessible to the public, equitably representative of the communities they serve, and do not require police screening, which creates an unsafe environment for people of color and the LGBT community. We will not rest while our or any other community is assaulted by negligent religious zealots like Pastor Chad McComas. Fuck Rogue Retreat.
Next, please.
I've been a member of Set Free almost from the beginning. I've been with Rogue Retreat from the very beginning. I have a hard time wrapping my head around all of this because there's 550 people off the street tonight, warm, fed, and cared for. And yeah, it's not a perfect solution, but I have clients that have gone through school, they're dental hygienists, I have people that are assistant managers. I work with them and they and him and her. And the only religious stuff I've ever seen Pastor Chad hand to anybody, complete strangers, is a promise card.
You know, Rogue Retreat gave me my life back. You know, they help me. It's not a permanent homeless camp. They help you. They help you get your ID, your license, a job, you know, your birth certificate. They order it for you. They help you get the printouts from the courthouse so you're able to get that. I am now over a year clean. I have my driver's license back after 20 years of not having one. I have a respectable job in the recovery community. I'm not going to announce it because of the negative feedback. I run LGBTQ meetings every day online, and I also bring them into the campground on the weekends. So when I hear this, I don't exactly understand like the negative part of it, like how everybody can have all this negative things to say, because I see them help anybody and everybody. I've never seen anybody be turned away.
Pastor Chad is just one person. He's the executive director. He's not a rogue member of Rogue Retreat. He's the center of it. He's the head. Somebody hired him. A board has approved his actions. People listen to him. They do what he asks. He's not just one person. He's the reflection of an organization.
I know how to pay bills. I know how to pay rent. I want an open refrigerator like you guys do. I want to use a stove and a toilet like you guys do.
When I wanted to get sober, I was struggling with a lot of things, and I can't imagine trying to come to a place where I wouldn't have been welcomed as I was. I fully believe that if I had gone to recovery that had tried to fix my sexuality or gender identity, that I would have killed myself. I believe that people will kill themselves through drinking or through suicide because they cannot access services because of religious influence from Pastor Chad and staff at Rogue Retreat.
I believe that in the 23 or 4 years that Rogue Retreat has been open, they have helped a good many people find their footing and avoid killing themselves. I'm sorry that some of the folks' life choices let them feel left out of the mainstream. They aren't in the mainstream, and that's their choice.
I refer people to Rogue Retreat often. I go to the campground. I have friends that are in the LGBT community. I refer people that are in the LGBT community to the campground. I was just there a week and a half ago with a mother and son who were living there, who I helped get in there, and now they moved to the shelter. There's not any other organization in town that's willing to step up, and if they're willing to step up, they're never going to follow through the way Rogue Retreat has. And it's a proven fact. I can name hundreds of people who have received services from Rogue Retreat and are gainfully employed. Maybe they're in college now. I could spend all night talking about it, but obviously we're not going to do that. But that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our oral request for tonight. I'm going to go back out of order to item 20.2.
I feel good about the people that we had in there who spoke on our behalf and our unhoused friends that came up to speak. That was good to see people coming up and talking. That last lady before I walked out, that was incredibly homophobic and awful. Like, conversion therapy literally makes people commit suicide. It is not effective, and being in the LGBT community is not a choice. It's ridiculous that people still think that, and that people support these practices that hurt people. And I'm really hopeful that Medford City Council considers everything we've said and decides to invest their funding for unhoused services elsewhere in better programs that actually include the voices of people who are being oppressed by the services as they are.
You know, it was a lot. We had a lot of support, and I'm really happy about that. And I think that some of the people that were opposing us kind of helped our cause too, because they kind of showed what Rogue Retreat stands for and what Chad McComas stands for, which is what we're trying to prove to the city of Medford. So I think some of the opposition kind of proved our point. So I'm happy with that.
What do you hope happens from here?
I hope that inevitably Pastor Chad McComas gets fired from Rogue Retreat, and there's some real systemic change that happens within the organization. And if not, then I hope city funds go to other groups that will use it better. Whoever groups those are, as long as they use it in a way that's non-discriminatory.
And I guess, what did you think about the people who, they sort of spoke well of Rogue Retreat? Like, they said it had helped them out a lot. How do you sort of respond to some of what they said? And I also talked to some people out here who were like, oh, we really like Rogue Retreat. You know, it helped us get back on our feet and all that kind of thing. I guess, how do you respond to when people sort of have that counter-argument?
Well, that's part of the thing we talked about, people. It's very unclear how this process works, but it's also very clear that members of Rogue Retreat, the staff, and the leadership play favorites with unhoused people and who gets support. So, of course, there's going to be some people who've been helped by it because some people are just preferred over others. And I'm happy that those people were able to get help, but ultimately we need to help everybody, not just the people that Rogue Retreat deems worthy of their services.
And what do you hope happens from here?
Well, like I already said, that City of Medford, well, so far we've got most of the things, like Chad's on leave, there's going to be an independent investigation, which all that's great, but I also hope that the City of Medford considers some of the things we said, creates programs that take into account the voices of unhoused people and other marginalized communities, and that we can provide better services to our friends in need.
Talk is cheap. Actions are really what it comes down to. So if people would just look at our actions over the years and our results, I think that'll speak louder. We can say something all day long, but it doesn't matter if we don't pull through and do what we say.
The city approved the purchase of the land for the new urban campground, but reserved the ability to choose a different organization to operate the site if Rogue Retreat is shown to be discriminatory against the LGBTQ community. Rogue Retreat has placed Pastor Chad on paid leave while it conducts an internal investigation. This is a complex situation. We hope to bring you more coverage as things develop, but for now, this is us as we are.
What we call sound. Are there more?